This is going to be interesting.
Now,
hello.
It's going to be very interesting. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's me and Majella having technical difficulties.
If you're actually watching this live, could you please let us know whether you can actually hear me? Because I've had Dodgeville with my microphone and doesn't seem to be picking me up at all.
Hey, our Fire Brothers there, the Mandalorian. Hey, Robbie.
Hey, Robbie, can you hear us properly?
Well, at least maybe your voice coming over my computer will do the trick. So we'll try it and see. Yeah.
We'll keep going.
We'll keep going.
I'm just wondering whether I should mute you. No.
I'm not hearing any feedback.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear you then.
I'm not hearing any feedback, so.
Is there any feedback if I do that?
Not hearing any yet. Nope.
Okay, that's really weird because it's definitely to do with my laptop's not working properly.
Yeah. But I can hear you, and I don't have my earbuds in here, so it should be picking up your voice.
Okay, cool. So, should we start with our technical hiccups?
Yes. the messiness of reclaiming one's joy in life, right?
The joy of live streaming for some reason.
Yes.
Spending half an hour beforehand trying to work out why it's not working properly, resolving some issues, and then some other issues show up. It's kind of like life, right?
It is. And Robbie says he can hear you, so we're good to go.
We're good.
We're good to
Excellent.
go.
Thanks, Robbie.
So,
tell me about your week.
Right before we came on, as I was sharing with you, I have hit that place where you understand that an important component of reclaiming your joy is that you have to feel and let go of the pain that is blocking that joy. And I have been engaged in this coaching process, and this week, every 2 weeks it has been. And so this has been number 3. And I get a really nice breakthrough. But this one was really powerful. And it had to do with the ancestral wounds. It had to do with historical trauma. And, being able to uncover that, unearth that, is so remarkable because it's something that my mom and my grandparents, and let's keep going back, weren't able to do because slavery was something that couldn't even be discussed. And so to think that I am able to, really do some serious deep healing work from that episode, it's just amazing. So I'm just a mess. And what's interesting, as I was telling you, to me, the biggest pain that I felt was when my coach said to me, before slavery, relationships between men and women and even within families wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. And that really hit me. That really hit me. So this reclaiming of joy now has an historical importance to it. Like, this is not just about me and my lifetime and myself reclaiming the joy, but it's actually reclaiming the joy that was taken away for 400 years here in the United States. And I should include the diasporic Africans around the world. So it's become like really, really huge. Yeah.
So they're kind of releasing that pain, and it has to be done, that kind of process going through. I love that you said earlier, it's like about going deeper, quicker with the coach that you're working with.
Yeah.
And that you said you open the door, I'm going through it.
I'm going through. Going through.
I'm going through that door.
Going through. I am not like, oh no, I can't do that. No, I'm like, no, we going there.
Yeah.
So, and I'm grateful, because I know I couldn't have done this 20 years ago. I am very clear about that. But I'm at this point in my life where, having my joy, living my story is so important to me that I'm willing to take the risk. Yeah.
It's almost like, what's the point in doing anything otherwise?
Exactly. And the fear will shut us down, but courage is about feeling the fear and choosing to take a step forward anyway. So I have been being very courageous over these past couple of days. Yeah.
It really cracks me up is when people go, oh, they're so strong, they're this, they're that, and actually what they mean is this person doesn't show their feelings, they just get on with things, they don't acknowledge the difficulties or the struggles or the effort. That's not courage, that's suppression.
Mm-hmm.
That suppression of feelings, whereas actually to be courageous, you have to be willing to be vulnerable and be in touch with your full range of emotions. So it's that kind of changing that narrative that we have that's fed into the societies that we live in, that, obviously in the UK it's kind of stiff upper lip, don't show it, and whether you're a man or a woman,
right?
It's like,
never let them see you sweat.
She cries all the time. She cries, and it's like, she cries. Isn't that amazing? Isn't it great to be able to release your emotions and show them? Isn't she fearless? Isn't she courageous?
Exactly. Yeah. So tell me about your week. What has this journey, this 40-day journey, brought to you?
Well, I sent you a picture of me and my son on our first holiday abroad, just before he turned 2. So that's, he's 29 now. So, and when my friend sent me, thank you, Paula sent me that photo from when we were in Ibiza. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, look at that girl. She's like, look at her. She's like, she's there, and she's like, she doesn't even know what a mess she is. It's so kind of like, when I was like, oh, I really love her. I really feel for her. And of course, it was International Women's Day last Monday. Women have featured a lot. Yesterday was Mother's Day here. And I posted that photo on Instagram, and Jennifer, who was one of my bosses when I was before I had Levi, and she was an amazing mentor. She's an incredible woman. She's a social worker. She's a mother. She's a singer. She's an awesome person, and I owe her so much. And I suppose it was like I've been processing these things and thinking I would not be here now if it weren't for her. When I was on maternity leave, she contacted me to say there was an opportunity to get seconded to do a social work course and get qualification. I would not have, this was before laptops at home and the internet being so readily available and all that kind of stuff. And it was because of her I ended up going to get my qualification. She supported me wholeheartedly. She was amazing. She always had my back. And
nice.
She posted on Instagram, I remember when you were pregnant with Levi. And I was like, yep. And these are the things. And if it wasn't for the things that she had done and gone out of her way to do to support me, she always supported me. And so I want a big shout out to Jennifer for that. And really thinking about all the women in my life and how grateful I am for them and their awesomeness. obviously including the present company, big style. Yeah, just having these amazing relationships that are so inspiring and so supportive and not competitive.
Yeah.
Just like they see the good in you, you see the good in them, and you're wholeheartedly supported. So those were kind of the things that come up. How did I get here? It's like that song, how did I get here? And then I also have just reached 102 kilometres yesterday in my 200 kilometre challenge for March. So I'm over the halfway point.
Joy, baby, joy.
Oh, it's been painful because I'm not competitive, and I was getting into a competitive mindset.
Ooh.
So it was really de-energizing me, and it wasn't fun. And then yesterday, I thought I need to practice this. So I thought, okay, I'm giving myself permission to go for a run. If I get to 5K, that's fine.
Right.
That's enough. And I'm just going to run for as long as I feel okay about running. And I did 12 kilometers.
Beautiful.
Because I let myself off the hook and running became joyful again.
Beautiful.
So I think that there's definitely something about the joy in the connections with people that we happen upon, you know. It's like, how the hell did we get connected, you know? It's just like all these connections that just are serendipitous, I would say. And that's about joy for me.
Definitely.
So women,
wow,
not being competitive, and releasing expectations. Exactly, Rory. Yeah. Not having these goals lined up. I've got an overall goal, but if I don't get that, it's fine. Yeah. If it stops being pleasurable, or if it stops being, maybe not pleasurable. I don't know whether that's the right word. It's okay to change your mind about things. Right. Yeah. Just because you walk through the door doesn't mean you have to turn back, but it doesn't mean you have to go in the direction someone else is suggesting for you. Exactly. You know, I love that notion of letting go of the expectations that we will place on ourselves that will strip us of the joy, you know, and that it turns it into a labor rather than a labor of love. And what you're saying reminds me of this piece by Chopin on the piano. It's he wrote 4 ballades. It's a musical form, and the 4th one is I'm madly in love with. But I can tell you that right now, I look at it and I'm like, it's impossible. There's no way I can ever play that. And he has in this thing called a coda. And a coda is like where somebody would in jazz improvise, and then it got captured and actually put into notes on a page. Right? It's like, and it's just like I listen to that thing. I'm like, it's impossible. There's no way. There's just no way. But I know that if I take it one small bite at a time, eventually I'll be able to play it in a way that works for me. I don't need to put any expectation on myself except that, and just love being able to play and to learn it. And that's what I hear you saying about the running, you know. Yeah, keeping it in that joy space, and it's meant to be something that, you know, it's that my friend Chloe suggested it, and I was like, okay. Now Chloe is much more competitive than me, but we're competing against ourselves, really. I'm like, this is a challenge. I've never run that much in that space of time. I've already run more than I've ever run in a short space of time. I've already achieved something. I'm already successful at it. Right. You know? And it's like, okay, so how to make it more fun and play with your mindset around things and just go, okay, that isn't working. Because I think it's all mirrored, right? Or it's not mirrored.
Yes.
It's repetitive. It's like the patterns in a leaf are the same as the whole plant, and the tiny little things that make up the leaf are the same pattern that's repeated throughout.
Right.
So if you take one area of your life where you're and you focus on it, so like running, what am I doing? How does it feel? What happens if I go through and continue doing it when it feels like rubbish? Do I get beyond that? And yes, I do. So here's the things. Are you willing to go through the pain barrier? Are you willing to go through the bit that and recognize that, okay, it might take me 6 kilometers to actually start to feel like this is pleasurable again, and that's okay. So it's looking at that and using it as a metaphor for the rest of my life and different areas, and then choosing which bits to do. Because that's the other thing I've done, is cut ties from things that I felt like I wasn't doing a good job at, because if I had more time and space, I'd like to do a lot more.
Right.
So rather than do a not so good job where I feel rubbish about myself, I've said I can't do this at the moment because it's not working for what I've said I'd do, and it's not working for me.
Right.
So making choices, conscious choices about those things.
Yeah. And I think we're also talking about, accepting that, the joy and having the joy, choosing the joy, living the joy does require moving through these pain barriers. And that it takes courage and a willingness and a determination to do that. And I think that's important. That's an important thing, because I think people think that if I'm going after joy, then I should be joyous and happy all the time, instead of realizing that, no, there's some work here to do, and that's okay. You're not failing. Like, I don't feel like I'm failing. I feel like I'm doing what's required, just like you. It's not like you're failing. You're doing what's required to get to where it is that you want to get to with your running. And so that notion of accepting the pain as part of the process, rather than something that we have to stay in and suffer with, but to not be a victim to it, but actually just see it as medicine almost, that bitter medicine that you'd have to take sometimes as a kid or even as an adult, knowing that it's going to bring you to the level of health and wellness and joy that you're really going after. And that's very different from, I get into the pain and it's telling me no, like where I get stopped or I get stuck. And I think what we're really sharing with people who are watching this and learning from it is it's about pushing through that, moving through that. Yeah.
And recognizing the difference between, because I think there's a big difference between pushing through something when it's in relation to other people.
Yes.
Where we've got all this internalized misogyny stuff going on, right. So I must kind of roll over or acquiesce, is that the correct word? To the dominant narrative, right. When does that become the kind of, okay, you need to check in, is that really what's right for you, or is that what the internalized misogynistic patriarchal stuff is going on? That goes for guys as well, like men who are under pressure to be the kind of rescuer or saving. It's really awful. You just think, no, how do we change that narrative? How do we change it? How do we make it really encourage people to show and express themselves without having to turn one or other into a victim?
Yeah. Or without having to turn yourself into a victim, right? Yeah, exactly. So for this week coming up, what are you anticipating? You got any anticipation, any intentions for this journey?
Oh, I am working with some really cool people at the moment, and really enjoying sharing space with them. And no, I'm not really sure. I'm just curious. I'm curious. I suppose I'd really like what's missing for me at the moment is I've stopped savouring my food and enjoying what I'm doing. So I'd quite like to get back into that. Nice. Although I'm on, obviously it's week 1 of having taken the supplements for treating my stomach stuff as well. So yeah, I'd like to be feeling like I'm really enjoying that physical, the pleasure from food and enjoying things, and the pleasure from connection with others. Yes. And in connection with others.
Yes.
Yeah. How about you?
I am definitely stepping into curiosity to see where this healing process I'm going through is, what that's going to render. Very, very excited for that. I am looking for this week to be a little more downtime for me and to play piano more. I did not get a chance to play last week, and piano always brings me joy, always has me in the flow. And so that's a big piece of my intention for this week, is to just, shut down a little, just lay low, let this energy move through me, get my rewiring on, and then see what the results are. So, yeah.
Mm. Well, it's your month, Pisces. It's your month.
Yes, it is. Until the 20th, when Aries takes over.
That's true. Well, and tomorrow would have been my mother's birthday.
Wow.
So, and then of course St. Patrick's Day is the next day. So it's big Irish things, and it's it's the anniversary of lockdown in the UK.
Wow. And I think for us too here in LA, definitely it happened right after I was actually in Trinidad on a writing retreat last year this time, and that was the day I came back was the day it was declared a global pandemic. So yeah, lots of completions and new beginnings in this month, because we have spring showing up as well. So yeah.
And we're an hour closer in time at the moment.
We are. We have to. That was the other technical difficulty, fixing that up.
Yeah. And I'm really glad Ravi's watching and that you've mentioned Trinidad, because obviously we will all be in Trinidad together at some point.
It's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. Yeah. So what's your last word for this week, my dear?
I really hope that people are able to just notice the spring in their step and where they feel liberated in connection with others.
Sure. And my last word is to embrace the process that will include some uncomfortableness, it will include some emotional pain breaking through. And to do that knowing that your reward is going to be great. Yes.
Amazing. Here's to greatness.
Okay. Thank God for
next week.
Thank goodness for cell phones. Acting as microphones. I love it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Bye, Ravi. And there's a couple other people here. Unfortunately, I can't see your names, but thank you so much for tuning in. Much appreciated. Looking forward to next week. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Take care.